My brother, Mark 40, won the lottery when he was 20. It was $1,000 a week for life. He was young and wanted to travel. He dropped out of school and has spent his entire adulthood basically seeing the world. He comes home to visit every few years and we FaceTime with him when he is near a signal. He doesn't travel first class or stay in expensive resorts, so he has actually built up some nice savings. He came home with a girlfriend, Haley, 28 this year. They met when they got stuck in South America during the pandemic. She has been traveling since she graduated from university, and she works out of a laptop. I, female 54, live in the same city where I was born. I love it here. I love being close to my parents and my grandchildren, and most of my siblings. Mark hated being the youngest of 8 and always swore he would not have kids. Our parents were older when they had him, and they didn't have the energy for him, truth be told. Mark came home when he was 30 and told us all that he had a vasectomy and that he would not be contributing to the world population. Haley is a pretty young thing and she is also intelligent and sweet. I can understand why anyone would fall in love with her. We were having a family BBQ to celebrate Mark being in town. There were maybe 30 people in my parents' yard and house. I was talking to Haley about her future plans now that the world opened up again. She said that she was ready to settle down and start a family. I asked if they were planning on adopting from one of the countries that they had traveled to, or if they would try in North America. She said they had talked about it and would be having at least one child of their own. This may be where I messed up. I asked where Mark got his vasectomy reversed, or if they were having in vitro fertilization. I know they can harvest sperm from a testicle even after a vasectomy. She went very quiet and went over to Mark. They spoke and they left. Mark called me later that night to scream at me for ruining his life. He hadn't told her, and he was planning on just continuing to travel, and maybe adopt if they decided on it. He said I shared private medical information, and that he never wanted to see me again. I apologized over and over. I seriously had no way of knowing that he was planning a future with this girl without telling her a pretty big piece of the puzzle might be missing. I feel bad for him, but I think he should have told her. Next story. I, 37 female, have 4 kids, 14 female, 10 male, 8 male, and 5 female, with my husband, 35 male. My eldest Eliza is very shy and keeps to herself at big gatherings. She has never been a fan of huge gatherings, so she'll find a spot on the couch and stay there reading her book. People do go up to her and ask her about her book or school, etc. She will reply. She'll answer their questions and she's never rude to anyone. She's a good kid and both sides of the family love her and understand why she likes her space. It has never been a problem until now. Yesterday, my husband invited his mom, dad, and sister, along with her husband, and their twins and a few work buddies and their partners to join us for dinner. Eliza wasn't having a good day and asked if she could just stay in her room because today just wasn't a good day for her. Both my husband and myself agreed that she could stay in her room tonight, but if she needs to talk, just come to us. She thanked us before going up to her room. When everyone arrived, my husband was still cooking dinner, so I sat around the table with everyone just catching up on what's been going on this week. My sister-in-law asked where Eliza was, and I told her that she was in her room because today hasn't been a good day for her. Sister-in-law felt bad and decided to go check on her. I told her that she shouldn't do that and to just let Eliza be for now, and when she's ready, she'll come down on her own. Sister-in-law rolled her eyes and went upstairs anyway. I quickly followed behind her because I really didn't want her bothering my child when she's upset. That's not fair to Eliza. When I caught up, I saw her scolding my daughter and calling her rude for not being downstairs with the rest of us. Before she could continue, I told her she was crossing the line and to leave Eliza alone. I explained that Eliza wasn't having a good day and to just let her be. She isn't being rude by wanting to be alone, and if an adult can take some time to themselves, then my daughter can do the same. Sister-in-law snapped at me and said I was coddling her too much, and how she's going to be a failure when she's an adult, because we babied her too much, instead of preparing her for the struggles of the real world. I lost my temper and screamed at her to get out of my house if she can't respect that my daughter wants to be alone. I continued by telling her that she was extremely disrespectful to Eliza, and until she apologizes, she is no longer allowed in my house. Sister-in-law called me a bee in front of my daughter and called me a horrible mom for coddling my daughter, instead of forcing her to suck it up and spend time with the family. She continued by saying that Eliza needs to grow up because this shy thing was becoming unbearable. Before I could scream again, my husband came up asking what happened. My sister-in-law gave her side and told my husband that I wasn't being a good mom by coddling Eliza so much. My husband came to my defense and said that I did nothing wrong and that our daughter is allowed to take time for herself. I told him that I didn't want my sister-in-law here until she apologizes to Eliza. He agreed with me, which made my sister-in-law absolutely mad, and she screamed at both of us before leaving with her husband and kids. I comforted my daughter and told her that her taking space and wanting to be by herself wasn't wrong, and what her aunt said about her wasn't true. I reassured her that she was a good kid, and she hugged both my husband and I before going back to her room. My husband told me that I was a great mother, and to ignore his sister, because she has no idea what she's talking about when it comes to me. I've been getting a few calls and texts from other family members telling me I was wrong for reacting the way I did, and that I took it too far when I kicked my sister-in-law out. So I'm wondering if I was wrong in banning her until she apologizes to my daughter?